Okay, amigos, here we are once again, Rancho Alegre Radio, this time with an interview with Julian Fernandez of Los Texas Wranglers. Julian has definitely been a staple of the Rancho Alegre Conjunto Festival. Without him, it wouldn't have been possible, and they performed, 2 years in a row, and like I said, they will always be with us here at Rancho Alegre, and we're showing their support by doing this interview, and we're having a CD release party here at Rancho Alegre, and we hope everyone can join us March 2nd. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to know Julian and the guys, and let's take it away with this great interview on an Austin favorite. So hope you enjoy it, and be sure to check us out, ranchoalegretexas.com. Amigos, here we are at Rancho Alegre Radio once again with another great conjunto that we are interviewing, and this time it's Julian Fernandez of Los Texas Wranglers. They're out of Austin, Texas, and let's get to know a little bit of Julian, and we're here in his beautiful home. Julian, thank you for having us, man.
Well, Frank, thank you for inviting me to this great program and to your radio escuchas out there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I give you really lots of props for the success you've had with Rancho Alegre.
Thank you.
And the programs y'all put together.
And just in case people do not realize, of course, everyone knows about our Rancho Alegre Conjunto Festival, that 2013 will be our second annual. It wouldn't have happened without Julian, to where a lot of bands, y'all know about the story about the venues. A lot of venues closed their doors on us. Moose Lodge was happy to have us. Julian was more than happy to help us. And it wouldn't have happened without him. And just wanted to point that out. And muchas gracias once again, Julian, for you and the guys for being there for us.
Well, that I really appreciate, you giving us credit for that. But, it had to start with the idea. And you guys were the creator of the ideas. And I just, support conjunto music and the musicians. We have a special bond, especially in la onda de conjunto. And we needed to open up some doors here in Austin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you coming up with the idea of having this conjunto festival, what could I do but to jump on, and join this great, festival that invited a whole bunch of bands that wouldn't otherwise make it to Austin, Texas.
Very true. Very true. So let's go ahead and let's get to know Julian and see how much he'll let us in on. And let's start out with the question. When were you born, Julian?
I was born in January, a lot of years ago.
And many moons. and where? Where exactly?
I was actually. It's a funny story. I'm full of a lot of little funny stories. I was actually conceived in Chicago, Illinois. We were visiting family here in Austin, Texas. La Familia Limon, which there's about 3,000 of us here.
Oh yeah.
But my parents, they were visiting here, Austin. They were visiting La Familia. It was a Christmas break, and we stayed with family. And my mom started having contractions, and so I was born in January.
Wow.
And there's two good things about that being born in January. I was born in Texas, in Austin, Texas. But at the time, I lived in Chicago.
Right.
So you can almost say I was dual citizenship. I grew up my early years in Chicago.
Totally.
And then since I had a Texas birth certificate, was the first one in my family to be born in Texas. The rest of them were born in Defiance, Ohio, and Chicago and all that. And I always get this with my brothers and sisters that I'm the true Tejano in the
family. And what first got you into music?
Actually, I have my two grandparents, my grandfathers. They were in the music industry. My grandfather on my mom's side, Manuel Limon, he's a well-known musician. He was just inducted into the Austin Music Museum and also to the Music Memorial that like they have the Walk of Fame in Hollywood.
Right.
Well, we have that here in Austin, but it's on the halls off of Lakeshore Boulevard.
Oh, okay.
And it's a very honorable thing because very little Hispanics. I think he's maybe the second or third one to be on there, and they have a lot of old rock and roll musicians and singer songwriters of days gone, that are on that Walk of Fame, and my grandfather, he was a musician. He played in Carnegie Hall. He was a very great violin player, but he also loved conjunto music. He used to help out bands here in Austin when they would come to Austin, like Perez Prado.
Right.
My grandfather read music, so and arrangements. So Perez Prado would always hire him when he came by, and then he used to jam out with Salvador and Los Pavos Reales.
Oh yeah.
When they used to come out here. He used to jam out with Los Alegres de Terán, and Los Rancheritos de Topo Chico.
Wow.
So my grandfather Limon, I was all around that because when we moved from Chicago, I moved in with my grandfather, because there was music and that caught my ear, and I didn't want to stay with my parents.
Right.
That was too boring of a life. with 7 brothers and sisters, I wanted to I loved the music.
Right.
So I learned early, that
Yeah.
music was going to be my life. And then I also have my grandfather on the Fernandez side, which they're from Nuevo León, and my grandfather on the Fernandez side, Antonio, he played with a band that used to travel all through California through the United States, northern Mexico, southern Mexico, and they were a very famed band in that time back in the 40s, late 30s and 40s, and they were called Los Montañeses del Álamo.
Okay.
They were considered like the start of norteño music, conjunto
really?
music
Okay.
out there.
All right.
But back in those days, conjuntos actually didn't start off with acordeones. The first conjuntos were violin and even
Right.
acompañados de guitarra.
Right.
And then the accordion came in, decades after that. But the first conjuntos, music, which were out to the piscas and stuff like that, not everybody had accordions. So violin was a very common instrument back in those days. And when my grandfather was a migrant worker, he was a migrant leader, and going out to Grand Rapids, Michigan, going out to up there to Traverse City, Michigan, and all these places to go pick cherries and jalapenos and cucumbers and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Tomates and
El esaje, todo.
yeah. They used to go gather around, the campfires at night, and the guitarra and the violin, was the type of music that they played.
Right.
There wasn't too many lyrics back in those days, but there was a lot of stories that were being said through the music. So that I picked up on that, very early in life, también seeing, the creation of the conjunto music.
Right.
Right. And it's one of those incredible things that you just say, wow, did I live through that?
Right.
And I actually did, I said, I used to eat raw tomatoes right off the vine, over in Defiance, Ohio. We used to pick the cherries in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah.
And I mean, we would have our faces all red from eating cherries.
So you got sick, right?
Yeah.
Because I used to eat them until I got sick.
So la pizca is what we called it, and the music was part of our life. It was what put the real reality into the souls of the folks.
Would you agree that I had, that's one part that I had forgotten a little bit about, that the stories to music. Would you agree that probably a lot of the greatest standards in conjunto music or music in general came out of that?
Oh
story,
yeah,
right?
the inspirations of that experience. It's still very present in today's music.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like this new CD that I came out, I have a song that I wrote, and it was from my experience. You know, when
Right.
I was picking, you know, the cherries and stuff like that, and one of the songs, it's called Lucerito Lucerito. You know, and that's the first time that I ever saw a shooting star.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
Okay.
and that was while we were camping out under the stars. You know, and back in those days, you know, there was no city lights.
Right.
You know, it
right.
was pitch dark, and you could see those shining stars just going through the whole night, all over the skies.
Oh, yeah, it was a
You know,
different time.
it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I relate that Lucerito to, you know, on the song, you know, to a little boy and a little girl, and you know, that's what a lot of conjunto music songwriters
Right.
do. They go through that. I mean, we even go to as far as writing about El Chile. You know, we write about jalapenos. We
Yeah.
write, you know, stuff that was very present in our lives. You know,
Right.
and a lot of people may think that's silly, that's crazy, and no. This is something that we took into our hearts, our souls.
Yeah.
This
part
is
of us.
this was what
Part
made
of
us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and you know, we had our fingernails dirty, you know, but you know what? When we sat down to eat, our fingernails were clean.
Right.
We woke up in the morning clean and bathed.
Right.
You know, it was just, you know, a thing. You know, that
Right.
it was a
Right.
common thing. You know, common practice.
And out of your brothers that you talked about, anybody else in the family, immediate family, musician?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that picture that's right by you, the widow on the right side.
Uh-huh.
That's my little brother, Fast Freddy Fernandez. He has the hair salons here in Austin.
Yeah, yeah.
He played the congas for one of my earlier bands, and then my little brother, my youngest brother, Hector, he played the guiro and trumpet.
Oh, okay.
And my sister Aniseta, we call her Annie, she sang, and she also played the guiro or the cowbell. She also played the drums. My other sister Isabel, she played the drums in high school with me, and she also plays the drum set.
Orale.
You know,
Okay.
but none of them followed through with the music like I did.
Right, right.
You know, as far as my brothers and sisters.
Orale.
You know.
So, okay, as Julian just said, they have a new CD. That new CD is called Mi Canciones, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later on. Pero we're going to go and take a break, and we're going to play all of the music, past and present, of Julian Fernandez y su conjunto, Los Texas Wranglers. We'll be right back here on Rancho Alegre Radio. back with Julian Fernandez here of Los Texas Wranglers. Julian, any other bands you were a part of before you hit it up with the Wranglers?
Yeah, there's been a lot, man. There has been a lot. I've played in the Tejano industry. I've played with Shorty and the Corvettes back in the days when he first came out with the hit, La del Moño Colorado.
Oh yeah.
He also had Un Ratito, and then I've done some stuff with Guti. I've done Rocky Hernandez, El Carnal de Little Joe. I've done many years with Alfonso Ramos y su orquesta.
Wow.
Alma Tejana, Paco Rodriguez. Done Los Dominos, with Domingo Reyes. I've done Sonora Royal, which was the Nash Hernandez Orchestra. That was the Latin music part of his orchestra. I've done Nash Hernandez y su orquesta. Gosh, who am I leaving out? There's been quite a bit. And then I've had my own, my conjunto, which was Invasión 78 back in the early 70s.
And even currently, not just a part of the Wranglers, the T-Birds.
Oh yeah, Los T-Birds is my hardcore puro conjunto band, and we use Los T-Birds on places where Los Texas Wranglers can't go play.
Right.
You know,
right.
The Los Texas Wranglers, we primarily do a lot of the rodeos, the state fairs, the county fairs, the weddings and anniversaries and stuff like that.
Right, right.
And when we want to get down and dirty, we do Los T-Birds.
And coming to the Texas Wranglers, man, do you remember your original lineup, who you started with, and how it's evolved?
Well, actually, it's a real funny story, and I'm going to do it real short.
Not that one.
When Los Texas Wranglers came to be, I already had retired from the music. You know, Alfonso Ramos was the last band that I was playing with. No, I'll take it back. Rocky Hernandez, y Milagro Band. After New Year's of 1995, I stopped. I just didn't want to be on the road anymore. I wanted to focus on family. I had a little boy that I wanted to see grow up, not like my other three. You know, I was always on the road, missed all the birthdays, missed all the holidays, Christmas, right. New Year's Eve, Thanksgiving. We were always on the road.
Yeah.
And I swore I was going to be part of at least one of my son's life growing up. And unfortunately, I did that. However, this friend of mine, Roberto Cantu, the guy that wrote that song, Una Aventura, he was starting up a band, and we had Leonel Guerra, el primo hermano de Roberto Pulido, playing the accordion. Roberto was on the bajo sexto, and Amador Salazar, our singer right now, was on the bass. And they approached me and they asked me if I would join the band, and I told them no. I said I was retired, but they asked me if I could help them rehearse so they can get music down while they look for a drummer. I told them, sure, I'll help you, rehearsing, that's not taking that much time out of my life.
Right.
I just didn't want to go on the road.
Right.
So, we practiced in the garage, in Roberto's garage, and, maybe a total of maybe 3 rehearsals. And then one of my cousins found out that I was rehearsing with his band, and they had a quinceañera that was coming up in Cotula. So he asked me, he says, hey, how much will your band charge, to go to Cotula and perform? I said, well, first of all, it's not my band. Second of all, I don't know. I don't know what they charge. I had nothing to do with that. So, I went and asked Roberto, I says, what would you charge to go play in Cotula? And he says, well, since, will you help us out on that gig since I don't have a drummer? And I said, well, yeah, it's family. When he said, well, you know what? Go ahead and charge him $500. for quinceañera. I said, boy, are we getting screwed or what? So, I took it for that worth. I went back to my cousin. I told him it was going to be 800, and rooms for the four guys. So, yeah, we got paid $800, and we stayed there overnight. It went very well. It was a nice, event and a lot of music. And we came home the next day. Well, by the time we got back, the primos that were in Cotula, when they got back, they said, "Hey, Julian's conjunto is good, man." And word got back to me, "Hey, man, I didn't know you had a conjunto." I said, "I don't have a conjunto. I don't play in a conjunto. I just want to go do that one gig," and it's. I just feel like it's like that old metaphor. They say they keep on dragging you back in, and I felt that, and I told the guys, in the band, I says, I don't want to, sound, bad, but you guys really need to get a drummer, man. I said, people are asking about you guys, and I said, by the way, what's the name of the conjunto? They said, well, we don't have one, and then one of my cousins. That has a restaurant here in Austin, they wanted some conjunto music. They said, hey, well, invita al conjunto de Julian. I said, Julian ain't got no conjunto. So así se quedó with the whole el conjunto de Julian. And the band leader at that time, Roberto Cantu, he says, well, Julian, I hate to say this, man. He says, but, we have no business sense. We don't have any experience in hiring out the band, and obviously you do. He says, whether you want to or not, this is your conjunto. I said, no, Robert, I'm just here, as a visitor. He said, no. He said, we talked it all over, and all of us, we decided that this is your conjunto. And I said, well, what are we going to call our band? And he said, well, how about... La Cura. I said, La Cura? He says, yeah, there's a band called The Cure. I said, but that's an acid rock band. I said, that's a hardcore band. He said, well, we're a hardcore conjunto. And I said, no, La Cura's no good, bro. I said, plus that sounds like we're a whole bunch of tecatos. Right. What is that? So, we decided, okay, we're not going to name it La Cura, And then one of the guys, Leonel, says, how about it, Impulso? I said, Impulso, well, that's pretty good. I like Impulso. We all decided we're going to name it Impulso. And then one of the guys said, no, there's already a band called Impulso. I said, they must not be popular because I don't know that band. So we said, okay, we'll figure it out later. And so I started getting gigs. We started getting gigs under the name of Impulso, and then we got a letter in the mail to cease and desist of using that name, because that's a registered name. I said, oh, pura madre. So we did. So we're back to El Conjunto de Julian, and then I woke up one night and I said, if we're going to do anything and I'm going to be part of this, we're going to have to make it a catchy name. I said, I not only want to play for the Hispanics, I want to play for all the crowd in general.
Right.
And everybody around the world, no matter where you go, Japan, all over Europe, even in Africa, right. Everybody knows Texas.
Yeah.
Texas is a Cowboys, and so Texas is very, famous around, a very popular name around the world. So I knew I had to have Texas or Texas or something, and then we all went to go perform one day, and we all were wearing Wrangler jeans. And it's me being the drummer, when all I got to see was the men in front of me playing, right. Right. And they all had Wrangler jeans, and I go, okay. So on the break, I tell the guys, I said, all right, I got a name for the band. They said, what? And I said, Los Texas Wranglers. And everybody says, wow, that's kind of catchy. So in the second half, people wanted to know who, the name of the band, and we started saying Los Texas Wranglers, Los Texas Wranglers. And we didn't have business cards or anything like that, so we started putting our names on napkins. We were at a restaurant, and we took all the napkins out of the dispenser, and we had the wives put Los Texas Wranglers and my phone number, Los Texas. So it's our first business cards were, we had like 200 napkins with Los Texas Wranglers on it. So that's how we got started, and the name has stayed Los Texas Wranglers ever since, and it's been over 13 years.
And who was that first lineup of those Texas Wranglers?
It was, by that time, Amador was already the lead singer. Roberto had gone to Christian music, and Lionel, his daughter, was having a bout with cancer in Edinburgh. So we had to get another accordion player, and that's when I acquired one of the greatest accordion players, here in Central Texas, and a very great guy, Sonny Trujillo.
Oh yes.
He plays all kinds of styles. When it comes down to hardcore conjunto, he's down and dirty with it. When it comes down to blues, I mean, he makes it sound like it's blues.
Right.
And our country CD, he did an exceptional job. I mean, we got Country Band of the Year at the Austin Music Awards due to a lot of that Sonny had to do with it, which we beat out Willie Nelson, Del Watts, and Asleep at the Wheel, and we were the first Hispanics to win that.
Amazing.
2 years ago.
That's great.
And that's how fantastic this accordion player is. A lot of people don't know that much about him, but he's not one person to stand out. He's never been about that.
Right.
He's been always about his art.
And he's played with some amazing bands, Shaggy.
Shaggy, Leonard Davila, Street People, Ruben Ramos, and the Mexican Revolution with Alfonso Ramos,
even
with Isidro Lopez out of Corpus. He's played with the greats, man.
That's right.
And I'm very fortunate to have had him for over 12 years in this band.
And how many? Because I know you've gone back and forth from having a female singer in the band. How many past female singers have you had?
We started off with a 15-year-old young lady, a very exceptional young lady, as most all of the young ladies that's been in my band. Monica Garcia. She won at the age of 15 at the South Texas Conjunto Association's Music Award. She won Best New Female Accordionist.
Wow.
And she played the accordion with us, and she sang with us. Was a great part of the show. And she finished her school and decided to go to college. And, that's when she separated from the band. And she continues to stay, in contact with us. Right. A very wonderful young lady. She's a teacher at Del Valle High School here in Austin, Texas, and we love her a lot. As we do all the girls that's been with the band and still are. The other one has been the La Güera de San Antonio, Joyce Adams. She's bilingual. And she sings a lot of great conjunto music, man. But her forte has been country.
Right.
She does a lot of the Patsy Cline, the Loretta Lynn, the old greats, the old standards.
Yeah.
And Adios Goodbye CD, the CD before this one, she sang all the songs, and they were all originals, except 3. On that CD, and Joyce did an exceptional job on that, and then we had Nikki Lopez. She's now with Cañonazo, and she still does shows with us. Whenever we do a rodeo or a big concert, we always invite her to come in and do some songs with us. She does a lot of the conjunto style of Jenny Rivera.
Oh, okay.
You know, Jenny Rivera, you know, has some great songs, but most of her music is in banda.
Right.
So
right.
what we did a whole album with Nikki, and did a lot of most of the songs were Jenny Rivera songs, but we changed it to Tejano Conjunto.
Órale.
You know,
And and right now, currently, I know
and right now we still have Joyce, and we have Rocio Valdez. She's from Saltillo, Coahuila, and she's an exceptional young lady.
Definitely.
She loves conjunto music, man. Oh, she loves the traditional conjunto music. She loves Linda Escobar, Lydia Mendoza.
People don't seem to realize that a lot of people from Mexico love
Oh yeah.
Tejano and conjunto music.
Oh yeah. She loves Irene y Fidel. Also el dueto Cata Blanca.
Wow.
You know, how can you go wrong with liking that kind of music and then, you know, being from Mexico and wanting to be in that kind of music? So it worked out really good for us. You know, so now we have...
And the current members
yeah.
are more or less the same? Or?
Oh, the band members, they've been the same all the way through. We have Sonny on the accordion, Amador Salazar from Edinburgh, Texas, on the vocals. He started off with me. Junior Sandoval, from the Familia Sandoval, Conjunto Sandoval, a legendary conjunto back in the La Calle 6 time.
Right.
On the bajo sexto, myself on the drums, and then my ace in the hole is Mr. Tim Torres on the saxophone. He does all my romantic boleros, and he's an exceptional man. He's 73 years old and still blowing the horn and singing those romantic boleros for us.
And other instruments. I know you're a drummer. You dabble in anything else ever?
Yes, I write a lot of music, and I started them off on keyboards on the piano.
Gotcha.
I present my music to my band members either by keyboard, the lírico, or I write it down on script, like the horn parts and stuff like that. I put it down on paper, and they read right off of it.
Totally.
You know, so I am what they call an educated musician. So, you know, I learned how to write script from my grandfather.
That's great.
And then when I went to high school, and then when I was at the University of Texas.
All right, we're getting a real good history lesson here from Julian Fernandez from Los Texas Wranglers. Go to take another break, playing the music of Los Texas Wranglers. We'll be right back. Rancho Alegre Radio.
Cuando me vaya para el baño, que se acordará de mí.
we're back here on Rancho Alegre Radio, here with Julian Fernandez of Los Texas Wranglers, Austin's premier conjunto. And question of experiences in the form of envidia. You run into some envidias, man. I see you smiling here, so I know there's a story coming.
As with all the musicians out there and bands, we've had our share of punched tires,
Wow.
people riding on our trailers, and actually people trying to tear our speakers apart.
Really?
And
Wow.
and it was, I don't know if it was envidia, but it was more of a hate, type of thing. We would we're one of the very few bands that can walk in and play to an English crowd, an all-American, we
Right.
call them gringos.
Right.
And so we can do a gringo crowd, we can do a country crowd, we can do a blues crowd, and we can do the conjunto, the tejano. The band, Los Texas Wranglers, were a chameleon
Right.
of music.
Right.
We do what it takes to satisfy the crowd. We know how to read our music. We have over 150 years experience combined
Right.
with the band. So we know how to read a crowd. A lot of the hate that we've had was we were in Memphis, Tennessee, and over there the majority is black and white
Right.
in Memphis. Well, we were parked at a hotel downtown Memphis, and we were parked, in the garage, and we didn't think anything of it. And, my van, if you know my van, anybody knows my van, we have Los Texas Wranglers all over the front of the windshield,
Right.
on the top windows, and it also says on the back iconjunto.com on the back window. Well, I guess people didn't like, Mexicans going into their town, and especially at the hotel that we were staying at, because we're
Right.
staying at the hotel that Elvis Presley used to have all his guests, and Elvis used to spend a lot of nights there with a lot of guests, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I don't think they appreciated Mexicans staying there, and that's when we had all of our tires punched out,
Oh, amazing.
and also the publicity in that town at that time was we were the first Hispanic, first Tejanos, first conjunto to ever play at the Levitt Shell at Overton Park. The Levitt Shell is very famous for many things, but most of all, it's known for that is the birthplace of rock and roll. Elvis Presley played his first rock and roll song in January 3rd, 1954. It was called then the Overton Shell at Overton Park. And the first song that he introduced to the world was That's All Right, Mama. That was the first rock and roll song ever to be sung in the history of rock and roll. And we were very honored to be asked to perform there.
Right.
And that was the first place that Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead, that was the first place that they played east of the Mississippi.
Wow.
They knew that they had to stop there if they were going to make it, in the rest of the country.
Right.
And so with that being said, as being there, there was we had a lot of the Mexican population come out to the concert because they love, of course, the conjunto music,
Right.
and we did a lot of country, we did a lot of conjunto, we did some blues, and obviously some people weren't happy with
Right.
us going out there,
Right.
and that was one of the nights that they had the most people there.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
and well, there's really nothing there for the Hispanic people to go out. So they heard Los Texas Wranglers going to be there, and not so much Los Texas Wranglers. It was they heard Mexican music was going to be played there.
Right.
Bueno,
Right.
so we put on a great show. Nikki did a fantastic show. Joyce just knocked them out. And we were all happy. You know, we were, we were in cloud nine because we were sitting in the same green room that Elvis Presley,
Right,
Patsy
right.
Cline, Hank Williams Sr. We were in the same room that they were in, the same dressing room, the big cedar pole that was on there, that they carved their name on.
Right.
We got to carve our name on that too.
Awesome.
So it was just a very overwhelming experience.
That's funny because I'm gonna let a cat out of the bag. One of the future projects that I have is that I would like a conjunto album done by various groups, recorded at Sun Studio.
Oh yeah,
So I'm trying to find the way to get that funded, and of course expect a phone call from me since y'all been down there before.
And my wife, it's funny you say that. She wants us to go back to Memphis because they've invited us back.
Awesome.
We were there 3 years ago. They've invited us back, but she wants us to go do 3 or 4 songs in the Sun Studio.
That would be great. That would be great.
I'm thinking very seriously about that. I need to talk to my manager, Ryan Rader, and see if we can do that.
That would be amazing. That would be so big.
That would be so awesome.
Oh yeah,
having some conjunto music out of Sun.
I know, right? and
hey, this time they won't punch my tires. They'll blow up the van.
and talking about back on the envy kind of question. I've heard from everybody that I talk to about the Texas Wranglers. It always comes up. Julian is good. He'll lend us his sound system. He's not one of these stingy guys.
Right.
Do you ever run into bands that are stingy with their equipment? Don't want you to.
Oh yeah, you get that with just about all the bands, or else they'll. My biggest thing is when we go perform with another band. The drummer wants to charge me for the drum set that's already up there.
Wow.
And we did a show on 6th Street at the Pecan Street Festival. And not Los Texas Wranglers, but I went to go help out a legend in the Tejano music. It's Cowboy Donley, Manuel Donley.
Oh yeah.
I went to go help him out to do a concert out there. And the sound system was provided. Everything was provided. And even the drums were provided. But we were just coming back from Mount Pleasant, Texas. We did the Titus kind of fair. Mm-hmm. That Saturday. We were coming in on Sunday. And when Cowboy Donnie calls me and I tell him, well, we're all in the van, but we don't have any equipment. And my equipment is at the studio. And he says, no, they have everything here. Just come on down. Do you have your sticks? I say, oh, yeah. I always make it a point to carry drumsticks because most of the times when we stop, either we give away drumsticks, autographed drumsticks,
right,
or the little Texas flag with an autograph on there, or a CD, right, whenever we're going to truck stops and stuff like that. That's just what we do.
Right.
But I told him, yeah, I have some drumsticks. So, he said, well, come on down and question number one for me was as to how much are y'all going to pay me?
Right.
And so that was discussed, and I was very pleased with the pay that they were offering. But we got to the stage when the sound engineers, they were taking down the drums. They were not taking them down, they were moving them aside. And I go up to them and I said, well, can I use the drums? And they said, well, the note that we have here is that this is going to be an acoustic scene, the performance. And I tell them, no, this is, they have keyboards and bass guitar, electric bass, electric guitar, and of course, definitely the keyboard, the horn section, and the whole thing. Manuel Donley went all out, had the whole orchestra.
Right.
When it was the guy says, no, well, the drums aren't included and not in this set. So I said, well, what will it take for me to use your drum set, man? I don't have a drum kit here. I said, I just came in from out of town. And he says, well, I'll charge you $100 for a 30-minute performance.
Wow.
And I go, all righty. Well, I guess, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to perform today. I told Manuel Downey, I told him, hey, cowboy, this guy's charging me $100, man, to use his drums. He said, no, the sound is supposed to be provided, with a backline and everything. I said, well, that's what I told the gentleman. He says that this was going to be an acoustic. He said, no. And so Cowboy and his son go talk to this gentleman. The guy was very adamant. He wanted $100. Well, the Cowboy put up $50, and the guy that hired Cowboy, he put up the other $50. So we performed, and I got to use the drums.
Wow.
But there's been other times when we've performed with a couple of the Tejano bands, and conjunto bands. I don't find this a problem. Never with conjunto bands.
Right.
They can use my drums, I can use theirs, and we have that brotherhood amongst the drummers. Bueno, and with the Tejanos, the Tejano bands, they don't want you to get near their equipment. But whenever we play with Los Texas Wranglers play with a Tejano band, and when my equipment is up there, they use all of my stuff.
Amazing.
And that's the only problem that I've seen as far as that's concerned.
Right.
Was just the way they do that equipment.
Right.
Right. And I don't have a problem with that. It's just that it just doesn't seem right.
Right,
I can
exactly.
see if I was a hard rocker and that I beat the hell out of the drums. I don't play that way.
Right.
Because if your drums are mic, why are you gonna beat the hell out of them?
Exactly.
Let the PA do the work for you.
Exactly.
So and that's what I find out a lot. And some even some bands that they don't want you to use certain mics. Because I guess that's their favorite mic. I guess.
Yeah.
Well, what I do is whenever people use our equipment, it's always disinfect the microphones with some Lysol. Just put a little spray on it, and that's good.
Right.
Because there is that fear of passing, the flu or
Right,
cough
right,
or stuff like that. And it's not that big, amongst the conjuntos, but in the Tejano, I find that happens a lot.
All right.
The only one that I never had a problem with their equipment has been when we played with Roberto Pulido, when we played with Selena back in the day.
Right.
Little Joe, Ruben Ramos, those type of bands. Bien cariñosos, bien hermosos,
Right.
And I'm glad that they're not only friends of ours, but they hold us up to a standard that they live to. They
Right.
never look down to us.
Right. Well, let's go ahead and take another break here with more music from the Texas Wranglers here on Rancho Alegre Radio.
Mira, qué fuerte me tiras. Mira, te llevas mi vida. Mira cómo hieres la diestra y siniestra. Por ser como eres, te llaman la flecha. Todas estas noches te he estado soñando. Eras una flecha y me estabas matando. Yo sentí mi pecho como te clavabas y como sangraba a mi corazón. Flecha envenenada, salte de mi alma. No sé cómo puedes estar satisfecha si eres una flecha en mi corazón. Flecha envenenada, salte de mi alma. No sé cómo puedes estar satisfecha si eres una flecha en mi corazón. Mira, 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 qué fuerte me tira. Mira, 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 te llevas mi vida. Mira cómo hieres la diestra y siniestra. Por ser como eres, te llaman la flecha. Todas estas noches te he estado soñando que eras una flecha y me estabas matando. Y yo sentí mi pecho como te clavaba y como sangraba a mi corazón. Flecha envenenada, salte de mi alma. No sé cómo puedes estar satisfecha si eres una flecha en mi corazón. Flecha envenenada, salte de mi alma. No sé cómo puedes estar satisfecha si eres una flecha en mi corazón.
We're back here with Julian Fernandez here of the Texas Wranglers. Julian, how would I put it? Land map lines. When we first started our Rancho Alegre Conjunto Festival, you told me that it's very seldom that bands leave their safety territory. In other words, Valle bands stay in the Valle, and stuff like that. And unless you reach superstardom, you go everywhere, of course.
Right.
Like Jaime Los Chamacos, Dos Gilbertos,
Right.
Why is that? Why do you have Houston bands that want to stay in Houston, and Valle? Do they not want to take a chance? Or
It's not so much take a chance, bro. It's a comfort zone. For them, people are used to going to certain saloons, certain nightclubs, and finding their favorite conjunto there.
Right.
Their favorite local conjuntos there. As here in Austin, here in Austin, there's other than the Moose, there's really nowhere to perform.
Right.
There's one place at Los Pinkies they play at.
Oh, the White Horse.
The White Horse.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very nice place, but out of respect for Bradley and Isidro and Chon, I don't go and try to step on their feet.
Right.
Because that's not the type of person I am.
Right.
They've got a good thing going over there, and that's fine. And hence, there's not enough places here in Austin.
Right. And you've told me before that you don't like playing clubs if you try not to. And you'd rather do like Moose, the family, family oriented.
Yeah. My band, Los Texas Wranglers, are all about playing dance halls and playing the larger venues.
Right.
Not que I'm chingon or anything like that.
Right.
It's just that my musicians, I'm the youngest one in the band other than the girls. And I promised them and their wives that I would never put them in harm's way. And my experience playing with other bands, playing the nightclub scenes, playing those little club areas, what they call congales and stuff like that.
Right.
I wouldn't do that to my musicians in this time.
Right.
Simply because we're old. We can't run that fast.
Right,
you know,
right.
well, see, hay peligro, you can't go that fast.
Yeah.
So it's
And clubs is a young man's game.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
and it
You
is
know,
dangerous.
and I don't do that wouldn't do that for my musicians. I promised them when we got this thing going and we were on the road. I keep a very low key as to where I perform, simply for retributions from other bands and the local folks.
Right.
You know, there's I only put on my website places that I know that I'm comfortable putting on the web on my internet, because there's a lot of places that I go that I really don't want to publicize, simply because I don't want to go back into a town like I did in Memphis, you know, and I put it all over the internet and all kinds. And I don't know if that was part of the factor, you know, no más evito. You know?
Right, that's right.
That's just the way I've been, you know, with this band, with Los Texas Wranglers. I respect my musicians. I love them all. And I love their families. You know, we're a close knit band. You know, so with that being said, you know, I leave the nightclubs to the young guys.
Right.
You know?
And you mentioned your website. What is that website? So
It's I Conjunto, the letter I, just like iPhone, iMac, I Conjunto.
Right.
You know, it's iconjunto.com. And it's a very friendly site.
Awesome.
It's very plain. I didn't hire nobody to do a master website. It's just you know, simple stuff that you can read a little bit on the band.
I will say that you are one of the few conjunto bands that have embraced technology and embraced promotion. You do your own posters, you do your own CDs. I mean, frega. I mean, you're a one-man production company here.
Yeah, we try to keep it all in-house. My publisher and manager, he handles all the big stuff. He handles and what I call the gringo contracts.
Right.
You know, he handles all the fairs and the casinos and all that stuff. And I handle my raza.
Right.
You know, I handle my San Antonio gigs. You know, we will go play at Pan Am Plaza. You know, where the flea market is. One side, it's a very nice dance hall. It holds around 1,000 people there.
Right.
You know,
right.
Mr. Salazar, a very gracious person. You know, he's very humble, and we play over there at least 2 or 3 times a year.
Right.
In February, for the last 8 Februaries, 8 years, we played the San Antonio Rodeo. We've been the only conjunto to go into the San Antonio Rodeo. We do 3 shows a year there. Yeah. You know, and we're very happy with that. We do the International Texas Folk Life Festival in San Antonio.
Right.
And we're, I think, one of 3 Hispanic bands. We're the only conjunto, and then the other one is like a blues rocking band, and I don't know what that other one is, but it's not Tejano, but they're a Hispanic band. Okay. And we've been doing that for the last 4 years.
And awards, man. I know you have gotten awards left and right. You know, could you mention some of them?
Yeah, I really don't like to talk about it. But since you and Piper are here, I confide in you. No, we've, like I said, our band is a retired band. You know, we're the only retired band out there that, for some reason, are still playing every weekend. You know, and I never say no to the gigs, and a thing that leads to a lot of our awards is that I'm in the public eye. The band is in the public eye a lot. We do the American Cancer Society. We do the American Diabetes. We do the Chewy's Day Parade for children. Wow. You know, which there's 100,000 people. You know,
right.
That attend that. We do the Zilker Park, the concert at Zilker Park. We do a lot of the Parks and Recreation concerts. So we're out there quite a bit. and not for anything other than to help out the community.
Right.
We do the Austin Community College, concerts, University of Texas. We do their Cinco de Mayo festivals también. The Lulacs. We do the Lulacs también. So we got a lot of fama through the Hispanic and the Anglo,
right,
and also the Black community,
uh-huh.
which brings us back to the awards. Austin has they have for the last 30 years they've had what is called the South by Southwest.
Yes.
They have the three types. They have the electronics, whatever they call the web stuff. Then they have the music, and then they have the film fest. And we've been one of the very few Tejano bands or conjuntos to perform there. And with that being said, during that same time, Austin puts on an award show. And being that Austin is the live music capital of the world,
right.
There's definitely a lot of bands here. And they do that award every year. And for the last, I believe, 8 years, we've won one award or two awards a year. And we're just glad that we're in it with people like Willie Nelson, Asleep at the Wheel,
right.
Del Castillo, Fantasma, Del Watson, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimmy Vaughan, Luann Barton. We're talking about mega stars, man.
Right.
And Loud Love It. We've rubbed shoulders with these guys, every year.
Right.
We're always in the VIP area, and we've won Best Latin Traditional Band, I believe, 6 times. We won Best Country Band 2 years ago. I've won Best Drummer in Austin, awesome. 2 years in a row. First Hispanic to ever do that. First conjunto drummer to do that, to beat out all these rock and roll drummers,
right.
all these young guys. No, but they're badass drummers, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got best drummer, but like I said, okay, I'm not the best. I just got more votes.
Right.
Sonny Trujillo won best accordionist, first Hispanic to ever win that in 30 years,
That's
man.
That's amazing.
And you have monster musicians out there like Joel Guzman, that are always up there. And Sonny to win it really meant more to me than me winning the best drummer.
Right.
Because drummers they always have, accordion players they hardly ever have that award. Especially for the South by Southwest Austin Music Awards. And we're very pleased with that. We've been inducted into the South Texas Conjunto Association. Into their Hall of Fame.
Wow.
In 2006, we were inducted, in the South Texas Conjunto Hall of Fame. We were inducted into the Texas Music Museum, here in Austin, Texas. When we've been inducted to the Austin History Center. And that was a big accomplishment to us.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you guys, one thing I've noticed about your shows is that y'all acknowledge fans. You will shake hands until the last person leaves. You have a lot of bands that don't do that no more. They pick up their stuff and split.
Yeah.
You guys will sit and have a soda or have a Frito pie with somebody.
Exactly. And judging by my weight, I eat plenty of Frito pies. That's one thing that my band members, I have always encouraged them, and it wasn't something hard. And we thank all of our fans that come out. Whether they like us or not, we're at the door as they're leaving, or we greet them when they're coming in. And we shake their hand, and we try to get their names, and we acknowledge everybody that comes in, people that we know, people that we don't know, and we have a thing that if anybody's celebrating a birthday or an anniversary, we usually get the birthday person to come into the middle of the dance floor, and I'll get the whole crowd to make a big circle, and we sing Las Mañanitas and happy birthday to them, and they just feel very touched about that.
Definitely,
you know,
definitely.
because I mean, how many people out there, you know, your listeners, how many times has a band ever come and did a Las Mañanitas just for you?
Yeah,
you know,
unheard of. It's unheard of.
And it's a good feeling. It's even a good feeling for us that we do it, because we see the little sparkle in their eyes, the tears in their eyes. You know, and to get sung Las Mañanitas by a band and your friends, es una cosa tremenda.
Oh, definitely.
You know, it's a big showing of love, man.
Definitely. Okay, let's go ahead and showcase some more music from the Texas Wranglers, something from the new CD también, and we'll be right back. Rancho Alegre Radio.
Star. You see, not just any star, a country music star. When I turned 16, I decided to hit the road. Hooked up with some cowboys on my way to becoming a star. 1 week turned to 2 years that I've been on the road. Played my country music at honky-tonks and festivals. Now I know it's hard, 'cause you've got to pay your dues. Sing my country music, it's all I wanna do. That's when we had a blowout. I realized it was a dream. Well, I never became that star. My dreams never came true. I guess I'll keep on dreaming and sing my country music too. 1 week turned to 2 years that I've been on the road. Played my country music at honky-tonks and festivals. Now I know it's hard, 'cause you've got to pay your dues. Sing my country music, it's all I wanna do. Sing my country music, it's all I wanna do.
Chaparrito, no me engañes, yo a ti te amaré. Eres como un lucerito, tú le brillas a cualquier. Lucerito, 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 mi amor. Yo quisiera ya saber cuándo vas a ser mi amor. Lucerito, lucerito, yo contigo quiero estar. Yo quiero
Okay, amigos, be sure to check out part 2 of the interview with the Los Texas Wranglers with Julian Fernandez. Hope you're enjoying it, and keep on listening. All right, amigos, here we are, part 2 of the Julian Fernandez interview of the Texas Wranglers, getting to know an Austin favorite, one of their favorite conjuntos, and really big supporters of Rancho Alegre Radio and our Conjunto Festival. So let's go ahead and take it away with the interview, and hope you're enjoying it. And like I said, this is part 2 of the Rancho Alegre interview. Okay, amigos, we're back here with Julian Fernandez of Los Texas Wranglers. Julian, you have admitted to me on several different occasions that you don't follow the grain. You make your own path.
Right.
And one of the things that, it wasn't something you invented, pero it's something that you do periodically whenever you feel like it. You've had female singers, for one, which to a lot of hardcore conjuntos, that's a turnoff.
Right.
But you've made it work for what you do. And one of the things that I used to be guilty of before I was really educated on conjunto was the sax. I associated, and maybe this is what other people do, but I associate it with norteño or with progressive conjunto like David Lee Garza and stuff. I didn't really consider it into my,
traditional.
I don't like banana in my post toasties. What I mean?
Right.
So it was one of those things.
Yeah.
Pero in getting to know you and seeing your shows, I get it. I see that there is room for it. But like I said, sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have Joyce, or the girls singing. Sometimes you don't. What would you say to people that don't agree with women or the sax being in the band?
Okay, first and foremost, as the girls that I have, and I call them girls. They're ladies.
They're women, right? They're ladies. Yes.
But to me they're girls because they're under 30 years old.
Right.
the pollitas.
Yeah.
First of all, it's the girls that I use on my shows is exactly for that. It's just for show.
Right.
Most of the dances that I do here in Austin, usually doesn't include the ladies, the female singers.
Right.
Unless it's asked for by whoever hires us. Now, whenever we go out of town, we do special events. The girls are definitely the show.
Right.
And one of the reasons being that I do that, it's that a lot of people that are out there, especially in the rodeos and in the county fairs, the Jamaicas and stuff like that, everyone nowadays are in tune to Tejano music and female and Selena.
Right.
Okay? So everyone, the younger generation, I'm talking about the teenagers and,
right.
Not so much at 30 years old and stuff like that.
Right.
My focus on those type of events, it's La Gente Grande, which are the people over 45 that are 50, 60, 70,
right,
80
right.
years old. I focus my hardcore conjunto stuff on that. I also focus my international music like Sabor a mí, Solamente una vez,
Right.
Reloj, that kind of music I filter for them. And then out in the crowd you also have the younger crowd, and the younger crowd knows the Selena Quintanilla, Selena Gomez. They know the Carrie Underwoods,
Right,
and
right.
that kind of stuff.
Right.
And that's why I have Joyce, Rocio, and Nikki. And that's all the show, because when we go out and perform those kind of shows, we have a little bit for everybody in the crowd.
Yeah, right.
We're not.
Un capirota.
Yeah, and we're not there just for the conjunto lovers.
Right.
We're there for the event.
Right.
We're
Gotcha.
there to bring in the crowds and so they can sell their beer, their fajita tacos, their nachos, their turkey legs, and stuff like that. And if you just give them one flavor, they have nothing to pick from.
Right.
And that's why I use that format in those kind of shows.
Right.
The Strawberry Festival, acá en Poteet, I do the same thing. I take the girls and Tim and the whole Los Texas Wranglers scene.
Right.
Here locally, I do Los Texas Wranglers or Los T-Birds.
Right.
And it's just the 5 guys, and that's just the way people has accepted us, the way we perform.
Right.
And sometimes we'll bring in Rocio into one of the tardeadas we do, or sometimes we'll bring in Joyce to one of the tardeadas that we do locally at the Moose.
Right.
And that's just to break up the monotony of just puro conjunto.
Right.
Sometimes Tim doesn't come, and so we have to do. Tim does a lot of my Fito Olivares stuff, a lot of my Aniceto Molina stuff.
Right.
And then of course the international music. So the flavor, it's all mixed in together, but the core of the band is strictly conjunto.
Right.
Without moving it up to the progressive conjunto.
Right.
We're staying closer to their roots, but with not the progression of trying to be something that we're not.
Exactly, because I've seen bands también that do it wrong with their sax. They get too involved with the sax, and it's pushed up there.
Yeah.
The way you've done it, you've kept it, pretty.
Yeah.
You've put it where you needed it.
Yeah.
And it's not, like a unnecessary.
Thing. And I don't try to push that sound on anyone.
Right.
If he can't complement the song or the music that we're playing, I'm not gonna put it on there.
Exactly. That's exactly it. You don't push him in there if you don't need it. Right.
And we're all comfortable with that. Sometimes like over in Memphis, I mean it's gonna sound funny. I threw all the girls and all the guys out except the 4 core conjuntos, because I wanted to show the people in Memphis that, hey, this is what this band is, the core.
Right.
Right. And our core was doing Viva Seguin a Totonilco, and people just went crazy over that.
Awesome.
The 4 guys playing. And then the first song that was sung at the Levitt Shell as the birthplace of rock and roll. The first song, and I had to do this personally because of a good friend of mine. The first song was Baila esta cumbia de Selena.
Wow, okay.
That was the first Tejano song sang at the Levitt Shell.
Right.
Which I was very proud of. I try not to do too much of the Selena thing,
right.
But she was a good friend and a great musician, and I admired her. And we do it to keep the memory alive,
right?
Not because we need Selena music to stay alive.
Exactly. And let's see, you guys, we touched up a little bit on this. You guys play everywhere. You guys, no matter how small, how big, lo que sea, restaurant, you just seem to be everywhere. And yet, Julian, and this comes from the heart, my man, and I hope you don't take it wrong, but I feel like you guys, there's a lack of respect there. Yeah. Because I've seen people, and I've actually seen this. I won't mention names, but you know who you are, that were considering hiring you guys for whatever, and you probably charging them $800. They go and they pay $3,500 to a Ram Herrera or a J. And I'm like,
yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if that band were to cancel them,
yeah,
they call you. You
exactly.
know what I mean?
And it's happened so many times. They'll call us the last minute, and the majority of times we'll go and pull them out.
Right,
We'll pull these clubs out and
I've
help
never
them out.
seen you or heard of you say, so I was saying,
and that's just who we are. The band. It's our thing is not big head or stuck up or anything like that.
Right.
We've been through that era already. We've seen it. We've lived it. And it was all fine and good. And there's no need for that type of attitude from bands and because sabes que ahorita estás arriba, pero carnal, everything that goes up has to come down.
And we've seen it so many times.
And there's some band locally, they think they're above everybody else, and 2 or 3 months later, the band's broken up.
Right.
That's
right.
And for us to be together for over 13 years, it has something to say. But the majority of the band, the Los Texas Wranglers, we've been together for over 30 years because we all played with the same bands.
Right.
We were with Alfonso Ramos for lots of years.
Right.
And when Alfonso got sick, that's when this band actually really got together. The core of this band. But it's we were on our way out. And then they just dragged us back in, and I don't say no to any any reasonable offer.
Right.
During the holidays this year, and it wasn't posted, but we did about 15 tocadas during the week and the weekend, and all of those tocadas were in somebody's home.
Wow.
I have a drum set that is only 3 drums, and they're part of the drums. I just use one cymbal,
right.
one cowbell, and bass drum and snare drum. That's it.
So it's a house setup pretty much.
Yeah, it's basically, they stick us in a corner of the house. We take a 12-inch speaker as the 3 mics, and that's it.
Totally.
Not even the bass amp or guitar, because we put them in the channel, go direct. And they stick us in a corner, and people that go out to our dances says, "Wow, how can y'all sound like this and then go out there and sound the same way?"
Right.
It's just like putting on a boom box.
Right.
So it's it works for us, bro. It really does. The musicians, they love what they do.
Right.
And they trust me 100%. And I guess that's why we've been together for so many years, the same musicians.
So what was it? Let me say for the record, man, lack of respect you do not suffer from our point of view. You deserve what you get, man, because y'all really work for it. Y'all are one of the hardest working bands that we've seen. I mean, you're everywhere. And advice to a young startup band that believes that once they get going, they don't have to have a day job.
Oh, no. You always have to have a trade to fall back on. It's good to be a musician. I've been playing since the age of 12 years old.
Right.
But by profession, I am a printer. I'm an administrator. I can go into a nursing home and administrate a nursing home.
You got that?
I can go into a health facility and administer into that. I can also go into a graphics place and do the graphics and stuff like that.
Right.
It's
It's always amazing to us what people do, because like Chano Cadena was a fence maker. I've brought this up.
Yeah.
And everyone's got a trade. It
I
wasn't
mean,
just.
look at Ram. He makes furniture.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Johnny Degollado, he restores antique furniture.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us, and I'm not saying I'm a successful one. I'm a very happy musician.
Right.
But most successful musicians, they have something back to fall upon.
Exactly.
And instead of a lot of musicians, this is our job, but we also have something that is our hobby that we make money off of.
Right.
We can sustain our families and send our kids to college and everything.
Right.
Because of the things that we can fall back on.
Definitely.
You're not always going to be at the top.
Exactly.
But you always have to be creative.
Yes.
Without creativity, you'll die.
Right. So let that be a lesson for all you youngsters out there. It's not, you take on a band, you're not going to be taking it more easy unless you're you're a superstar success. You're not going to be able to take it easy. It's more work.
Exactly.
If you believe it or not. Well, let me go in and say this. The new CD and all other CDs are available, of course, here at Turntable Records here in Austin, también in Janie's Record Shop in San Antonio. El Zerape Records will soon have them in Kingsville, Texas. And also the Texas Wranglers and the T-Birds are available for quinceañeras, weddings, divorces, bar mitzvahs, lo que sea, ¿verdad, Julian?
Bailes or lo que sea. I like to say a special hello if I can.
Oh, definitely.
Just to the Northern Illinois. They have a great organization out there that they support La Onda Tejana.
Sounds great, man.
You know, I'd like to say hello to them. All the folks over in Spokane, Washington, también in Saginaw, Michigan. I'd like to say hello to all those folks over there. También in Ohio, we have a lot of listeners and a lot of fans out there. California, New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado. And also, I don't know if this is going to reach out there. I'd like to say hello to Bernie Boyd over in the Netherlands. He's been pushing Los Texas Wranglers out there for the last 8 years. When we've actually hit the charts up there, up to number 2, next to Eric Clapton. You know, up in the Netherlands.
That's great.
También in Paris, France, we have some radio DJs that push our music out there.
Anybody, especially hats off to terrestrial radio, the stations that are left out there. You know, thank you guys. The only reason we're on internet is because, you know, that's what we've been pushed to.
Yeah.
Pero we're still here, dándole.
Y'all guys are doing a great job, and kudos to you and Piper. Y'all are very adorable. I'm going to call y'all kids. You know, and it's good to see young folks like you. I special have a certain kind of love for Piper because she's from Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. We
stole
stole her from the...
and one of my best concerts ever has been at the Marriott Convention Center in Oklahoma City. We had over 15,000 people go to one of our dances over there.
That's awesome, man.
I love Oklahoma. The Sooners. I love the Sooners too. But when they come and play Texas, you know, I have to swing the Longhorn way. You know, and that's just the way it rolls, man.
That's right.
You know.
pero kudos to anyone out there. You know, other internet stations. We're not in competition with anyone. We anyone that supports La Onda Tejana Conjunto, man. We have love for you, and we're here to help any way we can. So let's go ahead and take another break with the music of the Texas Wranglers here on Rancho Alegre Radio.
sale sobrando.
Puro conjunto, carnal.
Ya te vas a volar a otros cielos, ya te vas sin decirme adiós. Yo contigo ya no quiero nada, ya te vas, que te vaya muy bien. Antenoche escuché por tu ventana que lo querías y él te quiere a ti. Pues ya ves que yo ya lo sabía, que te vas a volar sin un adiós. Se acabó el amor que te tenía, se acabó realmente hasta el fin. Si un día piensas volver conmigo, ni lo pienses, ya no te quiero a ti. Si un día te quedas solita, pensarás en mí, yo ya lo sé. Porque el amor que te di era bonito, fue usted quien lo ha querido así. Se acabó el amor que te tenía, se acabó realmente hasta el fin. Si un día piensas volver conmigo, ni lo pienses, ya no te quiero a ti. Si un día te quedas solita, pensarás en mí, yo ya lo sé. Porque el amor que te di era bonito, fue usted quien lo ha querido así.
Pensando en ti, siento tu cariño, aunque no estés cerca de aquí. Veo yo tu cara entre el azul del cielo, como quisiera yo que estuvieras cerca de mí. Yo te quiero mucho, pienso mucho en ti, estando tú a mi lado, yo soy muy feliz. Yo te quiero mucho, pienso mucho en ti, estando tú a mi lado, yo soy muy feliz. Te quiero mucho con toda mi alma.
Sí, te quiero yo.
Te amaré toda la vida
con todo el corazón.
Te quiero mucho con toda mi alma.
Sí, te quiero yo.
Te amaré toda la vida,
con todo corazón.
Por la playa, pensando en ti, siento tu cariño, aunque no estés cerca de aquí. Veo yo tu cara entre el azul del cielo, como quisiera yo que estuvieras cerca de mí. Yo te quiero mucho, pienso mucho en ti. Estando tú a mi lado, yo soy muy feliz. Yo te quiero mucho, pienso mucho en ti. Estando tú a mi lado, yo soy muy feliz. Te quiero mucho con toda mi alma.
Sí, te quiero yo.
Te amaré toda la vida,
con todo corazón.
te quiero mucho con toda mi alma.
Sí, te quiero yo.
Te amaré toda la vida,
con todo corazón.
Hey, we're back with Julian Fernandez here on Rancho Alegre Radio, and of course he is with Los Texas Wranglers. And you guys have had a little flirting with Hollywood. I mean, movies y todo el rollo. What's that about?
Actually, it goes back to the old saying, we were at the right place at the right time.
Órale.
I'm surprised you even know about this.
We do our research, man.
I try not to put this out too much out there. As the friends and family, they know about this. But yeah, we were on a movie. Our music was on Everything Must Go with Will Ferrell and Laura Dern. This was this past year. The name of the song was El Amor que Soñé, and it was played in the entirety of the restaurant scene.
Awesome.
On that movie. How that came to be was, I don't know if the folks out there know Will Ferrell or know about him, but he spends a lot of time in Austin.
Oh,
Austin is his partying town. Yeah. You know, him, John Leguizamo lives here. And they're good friends. You know, they're comedians and they're good friends.
Right.
The one time that I did play in a congal in Austin, all right, and it is so funny. It just so happened to be on 6th Street, the entertainment district. And it's okay to play those congales if, like they say, if you're chingon, you can do that.
Right.
You know? And not to say that we're chingon, but they invited us to go play a place called Mi Casita Tamale House. And there's no tamales, and it wasn't a casita, you know. It was just a regular, you know, nightclub. Doors were open out into 6th Street in the early part of the winter. Driving down 6th Street with its windows down, which is a norm here in Austin when you're going down the boulevard on East 6th Street.
Right.
Listening to all the bands coming out of every nook and cranny, you know, on 6th Street, and even on the roofs and stuff. Will Ferrell was, he was being chauffeured, of course. Him and John Leguizamo, they were at a stop sign, and it just so happened, at a stoplight, and it just happens that right in front of that stoplight where they were stopped, our doors were open, and Will Ferrell heard the music that we were doing, and at that time Nicky was singing and John Leguizamo was moving his head and everything, and this is what they told me, okay?
Right.
And Will, you know how Will Ferrell moves his head back and forth, like he's really getting down, he's bopping to it, right? and he asked John, he says, "Hey man, you know, what kind of music is that?" And I'm shocked, that John knew because he's a New Yorker,
Right.
a native New Yorker. And he says, "Oh man, that's this thing called conjunto music." He says, "Conjunto, what?" And he says, "Yeah, man, that's conjunto music." So they stood there, and the light turned green, and they stayed there, and then they heard Amador sing, and he was singing El Amor que Soñé. Will Ferrell asked him, he said, "Is that still conjunto music?" He says, "No, man, this is conjunto, carnal," and he says, "Really?" So they go, they tell the driver to go inside and find out what band is playing, and so he goes in there and, he asks, "Who's the leader of the band?" They said, "The drummer." And while we were playing, the guy came up, on the stage, and, I'm playing the drums. He said, "Hey, man, you got a card?" I looked at him. I said, "Can we finish the song first?" "Oh, sure." So he he just stood there. I didn't know who the heck he was, man.
Right.
And I said, "Sure, man. Here's a card." He said, "All right, thanks." He walked away. Didn't hear nothing. Didn't know anything about it.
Wow.
Well, the next day, Will's manager gives my manager a call, and tells him that he heard the band, and that he was doing this movie, and to get a hold of this one person, that he wanted conjunto music on his movie,
Right.
and that they would find a spot for it, So they all this little politicking that was going on. I didn't know none of this was going on.
Right.
They finally said, "Okay, we want to put this song on a movie, and we want to put it during the restaurant scene, the Mexican food restaurant scene in New Mexico, because that's where they were filming it."
Right.
And I just shook my head like, "And what? What do you want from me?" They say, "Well, we want your permission." I said, "Well, you have to call my publisher. He's my manager, and talk to him about it. I don't know anything about movies and, stuff like that." I said, "I just write music." And they said, "All right." So they contacted Ryan, and they agreed on a price, and they went on, and I've got the movie right there, and it sure is a good feeling, man. We went to go see the movie, and I didn't hear a word they were saying on the music. I just heard my song being played, but they did wanted a certain sound,
Right.
After they had done editing, they called us back, and they said, we love the song, but that sounds too much like a studio. It's too clean, it's too perfect. He says, can you touch it up more to be more like a clubby type of sound? And I told him, "Well, we'll try," and I talked to our record producer over at Pear Tracks, and I asked him, I says, "What can we do, to get more of that kind of sound?" He says, "Do what the Beatles do, man." I says, "What do you mean?" He says, "What they're asking you, they want bleed on I don't know what the term was.
Right.
They want bleed on the song." I says, "What is that?" So they want you to sound like all of y'all are playing in one room, instead of in soundproof booth.
Right.
I said, "Oh, well, we can do that. Hell, that's the way we practice." He says, "That's what they want, man." So we took the drums out of the studio and put them in the middle of the main floor, and we took the bass amp, the guitar amp, and the accordion, and the bajo sexto, and it was just in one room, like we're playing in a little club or whatever,
Right.
And you could hear, in the thing, you could hear the bleeds of the guitar, the bajo going over the voice, and you could hear the accordion going over the bajo, the voice, and the drums, and that's what you get at the movie.
Right,
They put that kind of sound, and actually that's the sound they wanted. They wanted the sound of what the Beatles used to do, all in one room. And technology has gone so updated that they put you in isolation rooms and
Right,
you know so they can clean it up and they could edit and all that kind of stuff. They didn't want it that. Will Ferrell knew what he wanted.
Wow.
You know, so
you should invite Will to play cowbell.
Right, cowbell. So with that being said, you know that it came out on the movies, and I mean I'm a BMI songwriter.
Right.
So you know we get the money from the contract, the initial contract.
That's awesome.
We get we've been getting some checks from the actual my publisher.
Right.
And then this year I started getting royalty checks from BMI.
Congratulations.
Which is I mean a total new experience for me. And
that's something that's necessary that people don't realize. If you're going to be writing songs,
you
need to
exactly
join this.
And the itemized thing that they gave, I love it, man, because it said on demand. You know, the TV that people on demand ask, you know, to watch a video on TV. It says there was 800 and certain thousand that were on demand, you know, for this month. And then for Star, you know, they had this many. And then for HBO, for Encore, all these, they collected royalties from all these companies, cable companies, and also Netflix and Blockbuster Videos. Anytime they and I didn't know this, you know, anytime they rented the movie, I got part of that, you know.
Right.
So when I saw that check, I went, wow! And I've been getting it every quarter since the movie came out.
That's awesome, man.
You know, so it's just a great feeling.
Right.
And now I have another one that's coming out in February of 2013, and it's have you guys heard of The Rock, that WWE superstar?
Dwayne Johnson, yeah.
Dwayne Johnson. He's got a movie coming out with Susan Sarandon, Benjamin Bratt, Michelle Rodriguez. There was several more big names that were coming out. The name of the movie is called Snitch.
Wow.
And it's about, I don't know the whole thing. It was just the spew that they gave me was that somebody snitched on The Rock's son, you know, and he went to prison, and you know, and it was a false snitch, you know. So The Rock is going, you know, it's gonna be drama and action, you know The Rock stuff. You know, so it's gonna be drama, and Rock goes, you know, looking for the actual person that committed the crimes. You know, so it's that's one of my songs is on there, and I just assume that the person that snitched on him was a woman, because the name of the song that they picked is "No Eres Buena." Oh, you're no good. You know, and that just, you know, was shocking to me. And this time they didn't even call me up. They just sent me a contract with a check. You know, okay, just sign it and go cash your check. When I was, and you know, my wife she looks at me, she says, "Wow, can you imagine?" And I says, "Nope, I'm still on the cloud nine over everything must go with Will Ferrell." You know, so Will Ferrell got it all started for Los Texas Wranglers with the movie, and evidently he had The Rock, that production company has the same sound and music people that did
so
everything. You know, so it's we're in the mix, man.
That's great.
You know, I can only pray that it continues. The important thing to me, it's, you know, a major motion picture like that, a blockbuster, and having conjunto music on it, man.
And who knows, man? Maybe an Oscar in the Texas Wranglers future.
I don't know. But they did tell me if the movie ever wins any kind of award, that's we get part of that recognition.
Great. That's great.
You know, if they get a Golden Globe award, you know, we can say Golden Globe award winners.
That's awesome,
you know,
man.
And if that ever, I doubt it ever happens, but Academy Award winner.
Man. Never say never.
You don't see too many conjuntos with Academy Award.
5 years ago, if I would have told you your music's gonna be in a movie, you would have said, "I doubt it."
Shut up.
And what about radio support, man? You think they've dropped the ball with Conjunto and Tejano?
Actually, you know, some have. a lot of them, bro, they didn't drop the ball. What's happening is they're afraid. They want to do it. They
Right.
really do. They're afraid whether the people that advertise for them are going to accept it. And they don't know the people that advertise for them, they have people that work for them that are conjunto music lovers.
Right.
It's the biggest down thing that I've heard of some of the bigger Tejano radio stations, it's that people get tired of hearing the same song over. It's okay if you have a rotation
Right.
of some of the artists' new stuff and they're actually hits, but when you have songs that are on, 2-hour rotation and it's songs that were sang back in the 80s, bands back in the 80s and the 90s, you're killing the air. You're killing the enthusiasm of the Tejano listeners. Because the Tejano listeners get tired of it.
Especially with the history that Tejano and Conjunto have. Theoretically, a programmer can go 3 weeks without playing the same song if he really wanted to, with all the material.
Exactly. And that has been a big turnoff to a lot of the radio fans.
Right.
It's not the same.
Right.
I remember when there's a couple of radio stations in San Antonio, they used to have concerts. They used to have big dances.
Right.
They don't do that anymore. Why? Half the people they play are dead.
Right.
That's
true.
As to the half of the people that they play don't exist anymore. And it's a shame.
Right.
I love Selena, but come on, do I need Selena every 30 minutes?
Exactly.
It's a compliment to Selena, but at the same time, I'm sure she wouldn't appreciate this.
Right.
Because Selena was about supporting other bands too.
Oh yes.
She supported the business.
Definitely.
When it's a shame that it has gone down to a draw on that.
And it's a shame that the reason I use the word that they dropped the ball is because radio, the ones that are around still, but even back in the day when they were plentiful, they put Selena, especially after she died, on a pedestal, which was well deserved. Pero lo que me agüitaba is that they would forget about Lara Canales, who was great. Elsa Garcia also. In other words, there's more out there.
Yeah.
And there's we can spread out the wealth of love for
and
everybody.
and even at that, Frank, it's how can you get Shelly Lares, Elida Reina, Leslie Lugo, all these ladies, to ever match up to Selena?
Right.
It's very hard, and I, for one, feel really bad for these ladies. Elida Reina, she's on top of cloud 9 right now. She's the best that she has ever been.
That's right.
And she has reached some points that Selena never did.
Right.
And do you hear anything of Elida?
You really don't.
I love Elida to death, man.
Definitely.
And she has fantastic music, and she deserves to get played every 30 minutes.
Right.
Because she's that good.
I mean,
as Shelly Lares, she was always in the shadows of Selena. And I'm not downing Selena by no means.
No, I understand.
Selena deserves what she got, but the media, they need to back off of that.
Yeah, they need to quit going with something to where they all decide what's going to sell in newspapers and support everybody.
Exactly.
I agree.
You go into the computer nowadays, okay, you do a Google search, and this is sad. This is how bad Tejano has fallen, okay? And as far as what I'm trying to say is Tejano music, Tejano fans have fallen.
Right.
You go into and Google Selena on there. The first 10 things that you see on Selena is Selena Gomez, Selena Gomez, Selena Gomez, Selena Gomez.
Right.
Selena is out of the media.
Right.
Is out of the top 10. And how don't these radio people know that, hey, come on, guys,
Yeah.
tone it down. Let's do what we normally do is do an homenage to her, do an homage to her. Let's play that. I think it's. You need to give the living a chance.
Exactly, and that's another thing. Is
don't
that,
dwell on the dead.
And they dwell on her so much, La Pobre. They don't let her rest because it's fine to have an anniversary homenaje, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
But they have one on her birthday, on her death day,
Oh yeah.
They overdo it.
Yeah.
And they just don't realize what they're doing
Yeah.
to the living, like you said.
And one thing that I do admire about the Quintanilla family, and they did the movie and the whole thing, but the Grammys has never been the same since Selena was the first one to win it.
Right.
For the Tejanos, it's never been the same. Everything that's fallen, that's come after Selena has been the word that I'm looking for has been more of they're Tejanos because of Selena.
Right.
They got a Grammy because Tejano music was Selena.
Right.
And Little Joe, fantastic musician and great. He deserved his Grammys. Ruben deserved the Grammy. But when you give a Grammy, because there's not enough of the Elidas, enough of the Shellys,
Right.
Enough of the Grupo Vidas, up there for the challenge.
Right.
It's really not fair.
Right.
Because
Very much true.
a lot of these people they know because of course they're national acts.
Right.
And some of the bands are they try to be national acts and they deserve to.
Right.
And that's one thing that I told my guys. I said I want to be under the radar. I don't want to be a national act.
Right.
Even though I go all around the country, I don't want to be a national act.
Right.
I don't want to work that hard.
Right. Especially back to being a retired band.
Yeah. It's sad that that's the way it's been going with the Tejanos. And it's other Tejano radio stations and Tejano media. All I can say is liviánate, carnal.
Yeah.
Let the dead rest and pay homage to her respectfully, but don't burn her out.
Exactly.
You're getting a lot of people that I know personally, that I know they're tired of Selena.
And there's so many more.
You go to San Antonio, and that hey man, why don't you have this Tejano station? What is the Selena station?
Yeah.
And I said, come on, man, they're playing Tejano music. Well, all you hear is Selena.
And there's so many more that deserve homage también. So many
God,
artists
yeah.
did great things.
Yeah.
That deserve a shout out here and there.
Yeah.
And it's not happening.
When was the last time you heard Laura Canales, out on one of these popular radio stations?
Right.
Or
even when Ruben Vela,
Mm-hmm.
which for the record is one of the reasons why we started doing interviews.
Mm-hmm.
He passed away, and you wouldn't have known it unless you were on the internet, because radio station dropped the ball there again.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear not one announcement.
Ruben Naranjo.
Ruben Naranjo. Yeah.
I shouldn't say this on radio, but
Not a
Ruben
shot.
Naranjo's family had to go out and ask for money to bury Ruben. That's a shame.
That is a shame.
When Ruben has done so much for this industry,
Right.
where's the record producers? Where are the radio stations?
Right.
The
record companies.
hey, they should have been sending thousands of dollars to the family.
And the same thing sadly happened that I heard to Valerio Longoria.
Yeah.
My God, this is just amazing.
It's sad.
Yeah.
And I just, bro, I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy within our own raza, our own media.
Right.
It's just a certain little clique that that control that.
Right.
When it is there, and that's why I march to my own drums.
Right.
You know, I'm not part of a clique. I don't believe in that. I have a lot of musician friends. A lot of have bands that are great friends of ours. But you know what? I don't march to that. Right. You know, and I don't want to be associated with part of that. You know,
I agree with you, man.
You know, because it's not a right thing to do. You know, well, I'm not a bully.
And you know, we're in that same boat because, you know, we caught a lot of flack bringing all these bands to Austin that have never been here.
And you saw a lot of the negative things on that.
Yes, I did.
But you know what? You didn't catch a lot of the positive stuff.
That's true.
It was, I mean, the good weighs out the bad by
definitely
so much,
definitely.
You know.
Would I do it again knowing it would happen? Yes.
Yeah.
I'll do it again.
The thing is, now you know who to watch for,
exactly,
and what to watch out for.
Yeah, you're not as naive going
right.
in there.
Yeah.
Well, all right, amigos, let's go ahead and play some more music from the Texas Wranglers. We'll be right back, and we'll be talking about the new CD on our next segment. Be right back on Rancho Alegre Radio.
Acuerdo de ti a donde quiera que voy, a donde quiera que estoy, te estoy mirando. Estoy mirando aquí, estoy mirando allá, te siento cerca de mí, pero aquí tú no estás. Yo me acuerdo de ti a donde quiera que voy, a donde quiera que estoy, te estoy mirando. Te estoy mirando aquí, te estoy mirando allá, te siento cerca de mí, pero aquí tú no estás. Mi mundo se acaba, porque lejos está. No puedo estar sin ti. Mi mundo se me acaba, mi corazón sin tu amor no tiene vida. Mi vida sin tu amor. Mi mundo se me acaba.
All right, amigos, that was part 2. Let's go ahead and go to part 3. Thank you for listening, and hope you're enjoying the show. Okay, amigos, this is the final segment of the Texas Wranglers interview. Thank you for listening. Rancho Alegre Radio. We're back with Julian Fernandez here on Rancho Alegre Radio, of course, of the Texas Wranglers. Julian, you have a faithful drove here in Austin of fans. What do you have a name for these guys?
The ladies, I call them the Wranglerettes. You know, we have great fans, great followers. Usually when somebody wants to do a benefit dance, they call us out because they know that we definitely have a draw with our regular fans, and then you know, people that just love conjunto music.
Right.
I'm very appreciative, and I'm thankful for their support. I think what they like more about how I do it with them, porque es gente grande.
Right.
I have everybody's address. That's and this is a secret to you new bands out there, and maybe it's a secret to you old guys out there that have bands and want to continue to pick up your followers. There's nothing wrong with asking for their addresses, name and addresses.
That's right.
And there's nothing wrong with sending them a flyer.
That's right.
Over the mail.
That's right.
You know, and just always sign your name by hand.
Right.
You know, hope to see you there, Julian.
Yeah.
You know, you're giving them a personal invitation.
That's
wow,
right.
How warming is that?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and that's what I do here in Austin. On my mailing list, I have over 500. Of course, we don't get all 500, but if we can get half of it, we have a great night. You know, and you know, 99% of the time, we get more than half of that.
And let's talk about something. We touched up on your kids, on how hard it was for you to be on tour during Christmas and all that. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about your current wife, Diane. I mean, how much has she put up? I mean, she's always supporting you, man. I've never seen a lot of. I mean, like, not mentioning names, but I see a lot of wives que tan jetonas there at the show because you know the husband's getting attention or whatever.
Yes,
I never see that with her.
No, Diane, she's a godsend, bro. You know, I was married at the age of 25 to my first wife. We went together for 8 years before we got married. When we got married, we stayed for 1 year. And then I was single for 5. Wow. When I saw Diane for the first time, it was at one of my cousin's house. For the life of me, I didn't think she was Mexicana. You know, yo nomás miré una güera con ojos verdes. You know, and that took me, you know, and then after I left my cousins, because I had my drums here, because playing with Joe and Rocky, you pretty much have to have 2 drum sets. One goes a day before the other one, and you know, so I had to go pick up my other drum set, which was at my cousin's. And you know, I didn't even tell her how. I just saw her out of the corner of my eye. Right. So I called my cousin and my male cousin, y le pregunté. I said, who was that girl that was over there at your house when I picked up the drums? He says, what girl? I said, there was a girl there when I went by there. He said, no. He said, oh, yeah, there was a girl. And I said, well, who is she? He said, you know, it's a funny thing. She was asking me the same thing about you. I said, no. And he said, yeah, man. And you know, he didn't want to tell me who she was until I came back into town when he used to, and then he told me. And I said, does she have a number? He said, I can't give you her number. You know, we have to ask her first. So, you know, he contacted her and he le dijo, you know, and she says, why haven't you given her my number? So we talked, we you know, talked on the phone, and I apologized for being a musician because I was on the road all the time, you know, and one thing led to another, and you know, I asked her out, and we went out, had dinner, we went to a movie, and guys, I tell you what, man, and this is a man that's been married, all right, and before. It took me a month of going out with this lady before I got the courage to ask her for a kiss.
That's bashful.
Hey, come on, I'm a rock star drummer, okay? The drummer's supposed to get all the good chicks.
Right, that's true.
I was so afraid of this
Yeah.
woman. She was a goddess to me.
Right.
I never seen or got with a person like her. And then I had asked her for her name. I think the second date, and she said her last name was Dominguez. I said, "You're Mexican?" She says, "Yeah." I said, "Do you speak Spanish?" She says, "Of course." I said, "Nah." And she says, "¿Qué quieres que te diga? ¿Quieres que te diga que te quiero?" And my mouth just fell.
Right.
And I says, "Wow, gorgeous and Hispanic." It doesn't get any better than this.
Amazing.
So it took us a while, and then after I kissed her, I just knew, she was
beautiful.
the one.
That's beautiful.
And we've been married for 28 years.
Felicidades.
And it's one of the best feelings. She has been my rock, my biggest supporter. Her and my grandpa.
Definitely.
She knew me as a musician. When she met me, and she accepted that. And there was times where we weren't out on the road anymore. Sometimes we would go 3 or 4 weeks. And I would take on jobs either in the print shop or doing stuff like that. And she accepted me the way it is, And 28 years later, here we are. We've bought in our house. All of our equipment has been paid for.
Great.
All of our tours are she does all the proofing on my contracts. As the publisher, my manager, he does all the contracting, but she looks it over, and she's been with the same lawyer for 30 years. So she knows the industry very well. Without me even knowing that she did.
Right.
So that's a big thing. She was my protector on the contracts that I did with the movie, the motion picture, with the Hollywood people. She interpreted a lot of the law for us I'm just thankful. I'm the luckiest man in the world.
Definitely, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And talking about your current project that you're supporting right now. New CD, ¿verdad?
Mm-hmm.
Mi Canciones by Julian Fernandez and Los Texas Wranglers. Like I said, be sure to get this out there. It's out there, so be sure to go get it, and support the band. But one song that catches my attention, of course, everyone knows we recently lost Jenny Rivera. And this song, Lo Tengo Que Olvidar, is kind of like an homage. Even before this happened, this song was written and produced before she passed away. It's amazing.
We were shocked because not only does Rocio does a great job with this song, Lo Tengo Que Olvidar, you guys really need to hear this song.
Definitely, oh yeah.
But, Jenny Rivera has been, to me, like Selena was. I met Jenny about 5 years ago when we were doing a concert in MacArthur Park in California, Los Angeles. And we met in the backstage when bien cariñosa. She was. I didn't even know she was Jenny Rivera.
Right.
I thought she was one of the helpers at the park.
Wow.
I heard joking around, and she can talk like a sailor too. And I think that's what I loved about her. She was very fancy free and
bien claridosa, ¿verdad?
Oh yeah.
She would tell you she didn't like you.
Exactly. I really liked the lady when I met her.
Right.
Not knowing who she was, and nomás me cayó muy bien.
Right.
Being out of the road, and she had me and Diane, just tickled all the way when and the guys in the band también, pero joking and here's this mega star, and acting like that with us, not knowing us, and we not knowing, we've heard of Jenny Rivera, we knew we were going to perform with her, but seeing her on TV and videos and seeing her live is two different things.
Exactly.
Y aquí está esta chaparrita, just going all around and, talking a lot of number 10, and then we see her get up on stage and just the control that she has.
Right.
Oh my God, it's something like I've never seen any other star, do. And I fell in love with Jenny.
Right.
I love Jenny. And that's how this song came about.
Right.
Was I was thinking a lot about Jenny and what would she say in this situation?
Orale.
And the lyrics that I put together were stuff that I know Jenny would say.
Right. And a few people know that she was a Conjunto Tejano fan.
Oh yeah, she loved Tejano music.
She loved her Flaco Jimenez. She loved her. There's so many. She.
You know who was her favorite artist?
Who's that?
Of all time?
Who's that?
Freddie Fender.
Fíjate. Look at that.
and not the wasted days. And,
right.
She liked the Freddie Fender of old.
Right.
The old rock and roll, the old conjunto. Oh man, she was so much into Freddie Fender.
A lot of people wouldn't have known that.
Oh yeah,
it's a shame we didn't get to interview her.
As a matter of fact, if you ever get a chance, go Google her. She did a great rendition on Before the Next Teardrop Falls. As a matter of fact, that's why I put it on my Adios Goodbye CD.
Right.
Was because I heard her singing it.
Right.
A female singing Adios Before the Next Teardrop Falls.
Right.
And Joyce does it in my album. But the only reason we did it is because Jenny did it,
Right.
And you guys really need to listen to this.
I'll check it out.
I'll be there before the next teardrop falls.
That's great, man. And all of these songs were their lyrics and arrangements by Julian Fernandez.
Yes.
That's something that's kind of scarce in our onda. A lot of people don't like to write. They refurbish the classics, the standards.
Right. Yeah.
You guys are one of the ones that are leading the charge as far as new material. Yeah. You guys, Los Nobles, there's very few of you guys that are doing this.
Yeah, this is with this album. There's 10 songs on La Pantalla on the back.
Right.
But there's actually 11 songs on the CD.
A hidden track.
We did what is called a ghost track.
Oh, there you go.
And if you go out and buy it, you'll hear the ghost track. And so there's no publicity to it, but it's a song that I think is going to be played quite a bit because of the saying that it has in there.
Catchy
Everybody says it without them knowing about it. They always say this phrase,
right.
And that's what that song is all about.
Right.
All those songs I wrote, did the arrangements on the Adios Goodbye. It was all English country music, and we did 14 songs on that one, and 11 of those songs I also wrote. And they were English songs, except one of them was one song that one of the radio stations here in Austin is playing. It's called what was the name of that song? I don't even remember now.
Looking at it, will you remember?
No, it's not on this one.
Okay, I got you. And well, fans, let me tell you, support the Wranglers, man, because I guarantee you, especially in the Austin area, if you're in a bind and need a band, it's probably going to be Julian's going to bail you out, And Julian, right now, man, we're going to hand the mic over to you. Anything you want to say, any thank yous, anybody you want to acknowledge, whatever you want. Now's the time, man.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to your show.
Oh, thank you.
You and Piper Rancho Alegre, which I translate to the Jolly Ranchers. And thank you guys for the invite, for taking time to do this.
Our pleasure.
It's something that I humble in my heart quite a bit. I'd like to thank a lot of the folks that has made us a hit in San Antonio. There's an organization out there called Los Polka Dogs.
Oh, yeah.
And they're over 600 strong. So anytime we go play in San Antonio, we get most of those people in, and it just makes for a great party. Bueno, the South Texas Conjunto Music Association, Lupe Sainz over in South Texas, his organization, they're keeping up the hard work. And I'm glad they're not losing the fire.
Right.
They still support the music, and they want, through education and just putting the music out there, they're doing a great job for all of us conjuntos. in Corpus Christi, K-Rob, all these folks that continue playing conjunto music, Radio Jalapeño, KSAB, KW, KIWW, in South Texas. I don't know if they're still doing it. I know that they were playing our music quite a bit. Música de la Frontera. They play a lot of our music, out on the Mexican side of the border. La gente de Monterrey, Nuevo León, they which continue to be big supporters of la onda de conjunto. Es una desgracia with the drug cartel, the way it's going.
Right.
That's making it very hard for us artists to go out there and perform. We just get tired of getting our instruments stolen and being threatened and them taking our money, our jewelry, and all that kind of stuff. It makes it hard for us to continue doing business in these great, towns in Mexico.
Fear of death.
Exactly. And we want to thank them for still playing our music. And I'm sure we're gonna get back to norm over there.
Oh yeah.
It's una temporada, like they call it.
Yeah.
And of course all the folks over in the Midwestern United States, man. A lot of people forget about these folks at Oklahoma, Arkansas, Iowa, Minnesota, the Illinois, Michigan, Ohio. No, hombre, there's a lot of conjunto fans up that way.
Right.
And thank you for supporting la onda de conjunto. You guys, it's through you that is keeping this onda alive. And of course, in the mountain Pacific Mountain states, California, Oregon, Utah, Washington State, the Tri-City area, when in Washington, hardcore conjuntos, man. They love it, and it makes us want to work harder to produce better music for those folks. Porque aquí en Texas, es como el dicho dice, el conjunto nos viene guango. Everybody has conjunto. Up in those states, man, they don't have it. They don't have it that well. I encourage all these bands, all these conjuntos. Hey, take a chance. Go out there. Go play for the door. Just make sure. Do these couple of things, guys. And I'm talking to all the new conjuntos out there. If you think you're going to make money going out there, you're not. Okay? You're not going to get rich off of this stuff. There's no way. I'm telling you that right now. But what you can do is, instead of buying beer and drugs and all kinds of stuff, whenever you perform here in Texas, save that money. You never know what you're going to need it for. And if you're that much into your art, into that conjunto music, and you want people to hear you around the United States, you have to take the music to them. Don't expect them to call you. You have to take it to them. You've got to make that sacrifice. You calculate, how many gallons of gas is going to take you to get to Chicago, and how many gallons is going to take you back. How many days are you going to stay there? You calculate all that, and you make sure you have that much money in your pocket before you take off.
Yes, sir.
And then you can go play free. You can go play for $25 a person, whatever. Whatever you make, you make. If it no citas nada, at least you took CDs out there. People got to hear you. Sabes que the next time you go, you're gonna get more people. Guys, the first time I went to Chicago, it cost me $1,500. I didn't make a dime. But I knew what my goal was. I wanted people to hear my music. So it cost me,
Right.
I wasn't banking on any promoters, any dance halls or anything like that. No, those kind of gigs are too few and far between. You have to make that sacrifice. Es un sacrificio.
Oh, yeah.
If you love your art that much and you love your music and you believe in your music, you need to go out there and make that point. You need to spend your money, your hard-earned money, to go out there and show these people. You're giving away your music. Just know that. You're giving away your music to these people to hear you, because that's the only way you're going to get fans in this industry at this time. Because if you have no name, you have no recognition, trust me, tomorrow you're not going to have no name, you're not going to have no recognition. In 2 weeks and a month, unless you make that sacrifice. And like I said, this is the only way you're going to make it out there, guys. If you have your conjunto, save your money, man. Have a goal. If you want to go play in Phoenix, Arizona, sabes que they have Moose Lodges at Phoenix. They have VFWs at Phoenix. They have American Legions in Phoenix. All this is there for you. And you know what? They would give it to you.
Right.
They'll give you that night.
Right.
And you can go out there, sell tickets or not sell tickets. Just make a regular dance at $10 a person. Know that it's going to cost you money to go over there and stay. But you already have that covered in your pocket before you even leave.
That's right.
That's whatever you make, you make on top of that, and guess what? You go a little further, and just that's how you build up, your people, your fans, and
Exactly.
that's how you become bigger stars. Everybody went through that. I mean, look, and Selena, you think she was born a star? No, she went through a lot of sacrifices. You think Little Joe was born a star? He went through a lot of sacrifice. You know how many cotton fields he had to pick before somebody heard one of his songs? Come on, guys. It's not that easy.
Right.
You just don't make it overnight.
Guess el dicho, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it.
Exactly. But save your money, have your goals. If you've got good music and you feel you have really good music and you want to present it to somebody else, go and present it to them. I got my start, and this is going 9 years at the San Antonio Rodeo. I went over there and I parked in front of their office. We rented a trailer. We had our instruments in front of the trailer, and this was off the rodeo season, and we parked right in front of their office. And we were playing music. People were gathering around. They didn't know what the hell was going on. But you know what? That February, we were hired. And we've been hired every year since.
That's awesome.
You've got to do those kind of things.
That's right.
If you feel that people aren't hearing you, you go out there and park in front of their front yard. Go out there and park in front of the nightclubs. And tell these nightclubs, hey, watch it there. This is what I can do.
Yeah.
People gather around. They're going to gather around anyway. Go show these people, this is what we can do. This is what I like to bring to your nightclub. Go out there and do it. It's not that hard, but you know what? You have to do it.
Right.
You have, like you have the drive to play music, you have to have the drive to make it your business if you're going to make it in this industry.
That's right. And one more thing we've asked everyone that, that we've done an interview with, any words for our soldiers, man, abroad? And any support?
Oh God, yes. I was in the Air Force myself. I was during the Vietnam era.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I was in a C-130, the Hercules. If you're in the military, you know what that was. My main job there was going into Europe, Spain, and they would bring the dead soldiers in body bags, in crates of ice.
Wow.
And we had crates and crates and crates going into these airplanes. And I would sit, if anybody knows what the C-130 is, the way you sit is you sit against a wall. Your back's against a wall. And I personally, have a heartfelt love for the soldiers that go out there, especially the ones that are living, because I saw the ones that died. Sitting down in an airplane going across the Atlantic Ocean, seeing the ice melt off of these crates, seeing the ice melt, the blood coming out of the crates and flowing over my boots, my GI boots, and just looking down and tears coming to my eyes, not knowing who's inside that crate. It could be my cousin, could be my brother, it could be my neighbor, but they were dead. They give up their lives, and it's something that really hits you hard and emotional, to see crates, not a coffin. I'm talking crates with 15, 20 soldiers in each crate. You've got 20 crates in a C-130 packed in ice, and that ice melting down and flowing over your boots. Now, that's not a part of America that I want my sons, my family to see ever. I don't want to see that. But the soldiers that are serving our country, you know what? These guys, the day they sign, they become a hero to me. I don't care if they work in the mess hall. I don't care if they work in the BX. I don't care. It takes the guy that's cleaning the carpets. It takes that guy to be part of the American Armed Forces, to make the machine work. And that's what it is. It's a machine. And we're part of that machine. Each and every one of us, everyone that's hearing this program, it's part of that. And I'll be damned if I see anyone disrespect any of our soldiers or disrespect Old Glory, our United States flag. That is something I will not tolerate from anyone, especially someone that has not served in the military. Because that is one of the most heroic things that anyone can do for this country. Is to protect our country, our rights, our freedom, we the people. That is who we are. That's why we're able to sit down right here. And I got to see this, and I don't know whose blood it was going over my shoes, but it was many of them. It was all those drops of blood that joined together. The first thing that came into my mind, it wasn't one person. It was all these people's blood together. And the only thing that came to my mind is it was American. It was American blood flowing through my shoes. That's sad. I love America, man. I love our armed forces. And God bless you guys for serving out there. You guys are my heroes. And if ever Los Texas Wranglers could do something for you, you call me. There's no charge.
Well said, well said. Everyone, we've been speaking with Julian Fernandez here of Los Texas Wranglers here at his home. Julian, muchas gracias otra vez to have us, in your home and to talk to you, to learn about you, and we've learned a lot. And of course, we're going to end the program with new songs from his new CD. Please go out and get them anytime you see the Wranglers performing in your town or close to you, wherever. Go check them out. You won't be disappointed. It's a great show. Puro chanclazo.
Oh, yeah.
A great time to be had. So, Julian, muchas gracias. And you've been listening to Rancho Alegre Radio. Thank you, Julian.
Frank, thank you, and Piper, and all the Jolly Rancher fans out there. We really appreciate this. And siga adelante. Follow your heart. Go out and see live music. I don't care if it's conjunto, tejano, country, rock, whatever. We all have that kid at heart inside of us, and all the musicians, even the mega stars, they're all were little punks too, and we all had to start somewhere, and we couldn't be nowhere without your support. And thank you very much, guys.
Yes, sir. All right, so let's finish it off with Los Texas Wranglers.
Esta parranda se lleva el dolor que me está matando, y con esta tequila que estoy tomando voy a olvidar el que me traicionó. Esta parranda no me está ayudando. A ese maldito borracho te lo tengo que olvidar. Esta parranda se lleva el dolor que me está matando. Y con esta tequila que estoy tomando voy a olvidar el que me traicionó. Señor cantinero, sírveme otra copa, que me cante Jenny, una del corazón, que me vuelvo loca por ese ingrato, por ese maldito que me abandonó.
Qué lindos ojos tiene mi Gloria, que me hipnotizan cuando me ven. Qué lindos ojos tiene mi Gloria, que me hipnotizan cuando me ven. No necesita de maquillaje ni el espejito donde se ve. No necesita de maquillaje ni el espejito donde se ve. Qué linda es mi Gloria, sus lindos labios quiero besar. Qué linda es mi Gloria, sus lindos labios quiero besar. No necesita de maquillaje ni el espejito donde se ve. No necesita de maquillaje ni el espejito donde se ve. Tiene sus labios color de rosa y su figura es angelical. Tiene sus labios color de rosa y su figura es angelical. De su hermosura me tiene loco, tus lindos labios quiero besar. De tu hermosura me tiene loco, tus lindos labios quiero besar. Qué linda es mi Gloria, tus lindos labios quiero besar. Qué linda es mi Gloria, tus lindos labios quiero besar. Ya su hermosura me tiene loco, tus lindos labios quiero besar. Ya su hermosura me tiene loco, tus lindos labios quiero besar. Al empezar esta cumbia, una gringa se arrimó. Le pregunté, you wanna dance to this wonderful song? Me miró arriba abajo, como si fuera muy poco. Le pregunté, what's the matter? Don't you wanna dance? Y a los chicos se arrimaban a esta güera preciosa. Yo más cerca me puse para ganar mi lugar. Se pasaron más cumbias y con nadie bailó. Yo el inglés no hablo, 2 palabras sé yo.
That's crazy, that's crazy.
Es lo único que sabe.
That's crazy, that's crazy.
Is the only thing she knows. toda la noche bailaba.
That's crazy, that's crazy.
The way she dances, that's crazy. La bailan en Cartagena.
That's crazy, that's crazy.
Y también en Bogotá.
That's crazy, that's crazy.
En Allende, Nuevo León.
That's crazy, that's crazy.
Y por todo Monterrey.
That's crazy, that's crazy.
En la tierra caliente.
That's crazy, that's crazy.
En Reynosa la bailan.
That's crazy, that's crazy.
They dance it in San Antonio.
That's crazy, that's crazy.
En Corpus Christi también.
That's crazy, that's crazy.
En Austin, Houston y Laredo.
That's crazy, that's crazy.
That's crazy, my friend.